transmission loss on the power lines, especially in increased temperatures or increase in inefficiencies, because you actually have expansion of the wires and everything, and they're aluminum, not copper.
So we do know that this is part of the ERP. They are working, and they are, you know, it should be a transparent process. We will make sure it's a transparent process. We have offered that the consultant who created, they're from Synapse Energy, which is a nationally known, widely respected. You know, they do this for utilities all the time, help them map out their 10-20-year plan for energy. That they have identified with what they can. They pretty much said, unit 1, no problem. Unit 2, we need more records to really get in. But that's what OUC is doing right now, and this roadmap is part of it. Yes, so we need really smart people understanding the technology, the models and stuff behind it to make sure they're doing the right thing.
So I know that Orange County is about to hire their sustainability coordinator, director, whatever that title is going to be. So I'm kind of curious because the city of Orlando is so far ahead of Orange County right now. Is there a plan to get Orange County integrated and up to speed, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we get asked that all the time. And the one thing, remember that Goldilocks thing? Yeah. So I have been really focused on doable goals, and that all of our member organizations agree this is something that can move the needle forward. And there's only 3 or 4 because that's all we really have the capacity for. We don't have staff, except we got help from. But that said, we think with the change in leadership and the new sustainability director, for sure.
And of course, Stanton, OUC is a municipal utility, so it's doable actually. So
yeah,
that's why we're like trying to just focus a little bit more on that.
Yeah, and also, you know, when it takes a little legwork, like when we did the City of Orlando, when we wanted that pledge, it sends a much stronger message if it's unanimous. We didn't expect it to be actually in Orlando, but we did the work. We went door to door. We had the right people talk to the right commissioners, and the result was that unanimous, and that gives such no momentum as opposed to like a 3-2, which is can send a different message. So it really depends on the capacity. We will be having, now that we have Raquel to help us actually move forward, we will be having another organizing meeting too. That is the time when everybody comes forward and says, this is what I think we should work on this year. Everybody can make their case for why something is important within the realm of the coalition. So I would encourage you, we'll send out notice of that. Come, bring your ideas. I think it's very doable. We just need people to help do it.
Yeah, Kevin. So Orange County and OUC and then City of Orlando, but we have other areas, and I know it's keeping it simple, but how can we, as people who live in Seminole County who have not any sustainability, I mean, could that be something the first 50 will consider like expanding into these other areas? Because I mean, just because you guys are an island in Orlando and doing all these wonderful things, the rest of us still are all out here and not much progress.
So I have to say, you got the best fertilizer ordinance. I'm jealous of your fertilizer ordinance. So yes, and like when I was president of the league and people would come up and say, this is a great idea, I'd say, yes, how are you going to help? Right? So I think you absolutely can take this model. We can give you all of the capacity for organizing. We can put some of our weight behind it, but we need someone to carry the water. So if you want that to happen in Seminole, someone has to take the temperature of all of your leaders, figure out where it's at, find a draft, so because you don't want to just like show up with a with a commitment and have them turn it down, because that's like the opposite of momentum, right? So if you all have people who can organize and start doing that homework, then you can come and say, we think Seminole County is ready to make a pledge. We've counted the votes. Come out and support us, and then we can get all those organizations that you saw behind us saying, yes, we think this is a good idea. We can send a letter, that kind of thing. But yeah, we need some.
And that's asking them to go 100%
ready for
renewable.
100. That's what they call it at Sierra Club. Ready for 100. And correct.
And so we can get you model ordinances.
Exactly.
Yeah, and just, you've got Raquel's email there. Send her, she can get a model ordinance. I'm sure there's other toolkits as well.
And I can probably connect you to maybe the organizer for that specific campaign that can help you organize the community to push for a pledge of Ready for 100.
So any 100% renewable commitment is going to have the backing of our coalition, because we've all agreed that that's something to do. If it's something that's kind of outside the goals that we set for the year, then it's sort of like, you know, we're going to wait till next year because we focus on those goals together. But 100% renewable commitment in any of the cities, if there are boots on the ground and people who've done the work organizing, yes, we can get behind that and support it.
And sometimes there are even organizations that are already pushing for it that you can team up with and kind of like create that wave, you know. So
And when you bring the league name,
yes,
it has power.
the league has a lot of weight, you know, for sure.
So, Bloomberg and Carl Pope wrote a book, Climate of Hope, and in there he talks, Carl Pope talks about the Beyond Coal initiative and how that was such a shock to everybody at Sierra 20 years ago that this could work, and it did work. And then they had the momentum behind them, and you know, they took one plant and were able to get it shut down, and then ones that were going to be built, weren't built yet, but were going to be built, came to them and said, okay, so you know, we'll promise to do this and such another, you know. And he said, no, you're not building. That's just all there is to it. That's how much power they have by the first victory. It was so inspiring to read that. And how many, there's been, I don't know, 10 to 15 coal plants shut down.
Jacksonville.
Really? Recently?
Yeah, JEA shut down their coal plants. And interestingly, it's as much for sustainability as much just the economics of coal dumping.
Coal,
Well,
it's too expensive.
Yeah, and then, you know, and I don't know why we have not, I mean, Orlando leaves its coal ash out to kind of blow in the wind
Yeah.
until they get around. They do bury it, but it's like sits there for a while.
Well, when they get sued for a couple $100 million, they'll figure out the expense when
The
people are
RVs.
getting brain cancer.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
let me just tell you this. My granddaughter is going to SeaWorld camp, and we live in College Park, and so I'm taking her out there every day. And I live in College Park, so I'm downtown, and I don't see the air. But when I go way out there and look back on downtown, y'all, it's terrible. The air is terrible. You can see it. It's, our air pollution is not, it's bad.
The NAACP gave an F to Stanton Coal Plant on air quality. They gave them an F.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It is bad.
It's bad.
Coal
So
is
We're
that's
just
never
breathing
good.
it. We don't realize
There's
it.
So that's why the coalition has this as a priority, as a goal to.
Also, part of that problem is all the driving that's happening, because if we start measuring particulates in the air, what is the composition of that?
So transportation is usually about 50%, and that's where we go back to, what can we focus on? Though a sustainable transportation system, of course, is a huge part of climate action. So absolutely.
Well, I think that the
Get rid of cars.
The car pollution has gotten worse with the advent of cell phones, and I blame iPhones for that. As soon as you were able to swipe and get on the internet and do all that, people sit in their cars with the motor running while they check their email, while they look at Facebook, and they sit there 5 or 10 minutes with the motor running. It just infuriates me, you know. And I pulled up in the grocery store next to somebody that had their motor running, checking their email. You know, I had my windows down, and I'm thinking, I can't breathe this air, you know. So I put my windows up and sit in the hot.
I've always wondered about those child pickup lines. You know how all the kids are sitting next to breathing all that pollution? I always thought they should bring an air quality monitor, and yeah, not good. So again, there is, you know, that's one of the problems of climate change. I have to tell you, microplastics might be even more depressing than climate change. I'm not sure. But you know, it gets really big really fast. it can get really overwhelming. The small actions we take together can seem small. And so with the coalition, because there's a lot of good people, all those organizations are doing some kind of work towards climate action. So there's a lot of good working going on. And so with the coalition, we have to keep really focused on where we think we can make a difference. And so that's staying pretty narrowly focused and bringing all of these, the energy of all of these groups together where we have an intersection across all of us. And so that's usually 3 to 4 main goals per year. And again, we will be, when Raquel helps us get our act together, we will be holding another organizing meeting. We'd love for you to come and contribute to what our goals might be for next year.
So sign up for the list if you're really looking forward to when our meeting is gonna be.
Any other questions?
If you wanna leave it like on the last
Yeah.
slide, just
And
so
we'll
they
send
can-
this, but if you want it, we're happy.
Yeah, we can give
We're
you
happy to
access
send this
to
to you
it.
as a PDF, it just if it's helpful. So.
Okay, along that line also, the United Methodist Church in Florida just had their annual conference in June, and a resolution that passed overwhelmingly was United Methodist churches will be foam and plastic free. You know, and hopefully all their people will get the message. You know, so it's that ripple thing, you know, just goes out. So hopefully.
Absolutely, it's like, you know, when you get something to eat and they automatically put in the
Right.
plastic fork inside the bag of plastic and
Right.
all the other stuff you don't need, and it didn't used to be that way, and it doesn't have to be that way. There are sustainable alternatives out there that are widely available, so. And then once big groups like that start doing that, you create the market, and then it sort of builds itself.
I was kind of bummed out because Clemens Produce stopped allowing me to bring my container to put my lunch meats in because they said liability. So I would like to see her.
liability?
Yeah, that's what the attorney told the owner, because the owner got wind that people were doing that.
That doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
because every time I went in there, I made sure I advertised it, and that's something I think
Starbucks
Sarah,
lets you bring in your own cup.
Sarah needs to talk about that to their lawyers and come back with some white paper, so we can hand it to them and say, here's the white paper on your liability of someone bringing a Tupperware.
I've heard that before, and the excuse behind it is if you get sick, you know, from using your own dish or something, then you want to sue us, and how can we prove that it was our food, or, you know, it wasn't our food, it was your dish and your dishwasher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. But that's the whole
I mean, I went to
liability
Lucky's
issue.
today, they said, well, they would do it, but they would have to put it in their plastic bag, and then put the plastic bag in my container.
Right.
Defeats the purpose.
That reminded me of the time I brought my reusable cup into a coffee shop.
And they measure it and dump it.
Yeah, they put it in their plastic cup
Starbucks
first,
says
and
it.
then I'm like, wait, no, that wasn't that. That was
Starbucks
the whole
says that all the
point.
time.
Yeah, you're throwing away food on top of that.
Yeah, it's not why. I mean, I brought this in so you didn't have to use the plastic cup, not so.
We got
Oh,
it.
wow.
Yeah.
Starbucks
But
says
it's,
that.
I remember the first time I would tell people I didn't want a bag, they'd kind of look at you like something was wrong with you, and now it's just like, they're like, oh yeah, I mean, sometimes they'll even ask, do you want a bag? So we're shifting those expectations.
Oh,
about
I
how
carry
we
my
do things.
bags with me into the
Oh, yeah.
drugstore
Sure.
and the dollar store, wherever I go, I'm carrying
Do you
my
carry your
bag.
Tupperware into a restaurant so that you can put your leftovers
No,
in there?
I don't do that.
Cecilia does that.
That would
Sarah.
be funny.
But they,
But I don't have leftovers.
I just had takeout from Olive Garden this week, and they use plastic containers, not foam. And so I was talking to the girl as she's loading my bag up with all these plastic containers. And I said, okay, now we just, thank you for doing that. I said, but now we just need to get rid of your plastic straws. And she said, oh, we don't offer plastic straws. You have to ask for
Oh,
them.
good.
And I thought, well, that's new. I hadn't,
Yeah, we kind of,
that is huge.
yeah, we kind of skipped over that, but the City of Orlando ban, it applies to any city-owned venues. That includes the arenas, the Amway Arena. It includes
The Performing Arts Center.
the Performing
yeah.
Arts Center, the Relaxed Grill, and there's a number of other places. And there, it's no single-use plastic, no single-use foam, and straws only upon request for people who need them. And so that's also a huge request for
Yeah, yeah. I'm really looking forward to Four Rivers, who is located in City Hall, to change over, and then they need to expand that to all of their locations.
Yep, and sometimes a letter makes a difference from a customer.
So, can we do that? Can we have someone present some language to the Charter Review Commission as a proposal?
For,
For Orange
For
County to
Orange
ban?
County to, actually, the cool thing about the charter is it affects county and municipalities. We can write it for, that's the biggest reason why you want to put it in the charter, is it affects everyone, cities and the county.
so you might
So-
get with Eric Rawlings about that. He's been working really hard on the single-use plastics.
Okay, I'll talk to
Do you remember the
Eric.
name of his foundation? It's, what is it, the Florida?
I have his phone number.
You have the shirt on.
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go, Foundation for
Yeah.
Florida Environmental Protection. I would talk to Eric, because he could probably help you with that.
I'll call him afterwards.
And the ordinance is public record too.
Yeah, I mean, he was there, so he should, all he has to do is present it.
Yeah, David?
Okay, there are air monitoring stations throughout the region, and they are monitored by Florida DEP. I just sent you the link to Clean Air Florida. And when those clean air parameters get out of whack, whatever, the transportation planners must, no, they become a status of non-attainment of, I can't remember the name of it now. They have to have a plan to bring those numbers down. Atlanta had a problem with that, because what happens is the feds are going to say, hey, you get either come into compliance or we're going to cut off federal funds. And the feds did cut off federal funds for transportation.
Wow.
Still?
Yes, they can and will.
Under this administration? He hasn't.
They
done
can,
away with
it's
reward
EPA,
you
it's
now.
it's
They
EPA.
reward you
And
now.
the air quality,
it. That's the Clean Air Act.
Yeah.
That's the Clean Air Act.
We still have
They
it?
just, no, they
We still
wrote
have
it
it.
down.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of regulation that's going on right
That's
now
right.
for pollution, so that's really good to know.
So, I mean, they did have UCF, I think the gentleman that did the plan passed away here recently, Dr. Wright, I believe his name was. And so there is a plan on the shelf, shall we say, when we go non-attainment. I think that's the right word on that. So you can get those reports out there from Florida DEP. They do the monitoring on that. And let's see what I'm trying to say with that. I haven't seen any reports lately come across MetroPlan's desk board ever in quite a while. The board used to request monthly reports on that, or whatever they meant. Even if it was just a, FYI
Yeah.
thing.
And so the league is one of all those members, the league is one of the few multi-issue civic engagement organizations nationally. It's one of the things that's special about the league, and the issues that we work on depend on the passion of our committees, which is the backbone of the league. And so the people right here in this room can use the power of the league to push things forward by finding out what they are. I know transportation is going to be a big issue, and how we're going to fund more collective mass transit is definitely going to be something that the league has long supported, and there will be actions in the community. That is not part of the coalition. Back to that small number of achievable goals that we're focused on, but definitely worth something for your.
One thing to look at, I noticed this, I went to a TEAMFL conference last April here in Orlando, and they had various speakers, and one was the Jacksonville Transportation Authority. And that authority has been in existence since 1971 with the help of Tallahassee. Now imagine, if you will, you've got CFX, Lynx, and Sunrail all under one authority. Doesn't say OIA. Okay? And I did give a comment to CFX, knowing CFX and how they're working, plus there's a couple board members there that are gubernatorial appointees. I'm thinking, you guys need to get your stuff together, because we know how dysfunctional Lynx has been for the last 50 years.
Right, and I think
Yeah.
we probably could spend the whole night.
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
this.
we could, yeah, no
But,
doubt about it.
There's a lot of problems, but much of it does come down to
Right.
funding, so I think that'll be an issue.
But-
But I wanted to say thank you very much. It's the league, we could not do this. The league is a major driver in this coalition, so I wanted to give you guys this update so you knew what was happening on your behalf, and hopefully you will also, come join us when we have meetings, and then sometimes we do turn out at commission meetings or at OUC meetings to let them know how we feel about things. And hope we put out an alert, we try and all wear green, and then would be really super pleased if you all turned out with us. So we'll be continuing to be in touch with Gabby and with Mary DuBois and making sure that you all, now that Raquel is on board, we're also going to be better about our monthly board reports so people can understand what we're out there doing. But we're doing this work because the league exists, which is what you guys do right here. Your presence right here is what makes politicians nervous at night, which is a good thing. So keep up the good work, thank you, and we'll keep you updated with the work of the coalition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get her jump drive and
Your clicker, those are important.